Hello there folks, lovely to be back with you again. This is Jennifer from the Energy Dynamic Model Academy, and thank you so much for all my subscribers for sticking with me and waiting. There's been a long time I haven't been doing any videos, but the good news is I'm back making videos, so please look out for them and please share them and please spread the word. So today I'd just like to tell you a little bit about what's been going on. I've been looking after my parents and have done properly full-time for about nearly 2 years. And since that time I haven't really been able to do much kind of like, social media or networking or anything. But what I have been able to do is to continue to design and create learning resources that will completely change your life, because they show you how to understand yourself in literally 10 minutes. What I've also done is I've started to work with my son, who's an artist, and for the last year him and I have made some really exciting products that you can use with yourself or with your children that again explain how you work. They explain how the mind works. They explain how your feelings work. And you can just see how you work by looking at these objects. You don't have to think or try or puzzle or anything anymore. You just look at these objects and think, I've got it now. And sometimes I use an apple to describe this process. So if I was trying to explain to you what a red apple is, it would be really difficult because you wouldn't know what red was. Okay? I might be able to describe an apple to you, but I definitely would struggle to explain the colour. And I wouldn't be allowed to say, oh, it's the same colour as that red jumper, right? Just by using words. Red apple is really difficult. But if I could show you a red apple, I wouldn't have to describe it. You can see what it is. And what the Energy Dynamic Model Academy is really good at is enabling you to understand all about yourself, mind, emotions, feelings, who you are, the imagination, the environment you're in, what effect that has on you. We teach you how to understand that by looking at things that show you what that is straight away. So the energy that you then use is all about bringing that into your day-to-day life. And you don't spend any extra time or energy on trying to understand what I'm talking about, because you can just see it. Yeah? So people obviously need support to do this, because it's quite difficult to actually do in real life what we need to do in order to thrive in this modern digital world. It is quite difficult, but at least you know what to do. So the Energy Dynamic Model Academy is all about showing you how to understand yourself easily, simply, that anyone can understand in 10 minutes. That's what we do. So my son and I have been working really hard on a few products that I will talk about in other videos. But the one I want to talk about to you today is this book. So over the years, and the Energy Dynamic Model Academy has been going for 30 years in essence, although I set it up as an online academy in 2018. People have said to me over and over again, but can't you make it more simple? Can't you make it more simple? So I wrote books. And in the end, I wrote another book that put all those books together. And this is the Energy Dynamic Model Academy. The complete works of the Energy Dynamic Model. And within this book is everything you ever need to know in really deep detail about the nature of us as human beings and how we operate on an energetic level. Okay? Once you know that, you know how you work. Simple. What I thought. And it is, if you want to do a deep dive, if you're interested in the spiritual aspect of yourself, if you're interested in what are you here for, that sort of thing. There's 4 books in here, all backed up with the online courses in the Energy Dynamic Model Academy. All those courses are based on this one book. And you do that, it will take you probably 3 months, but you will be a master of yourself. There we are. But people along the line were saying, yes, but I haven't got time to read all that. And your online academy, I have to sit and study and etc. And I'm like, well, yes, you do. Yes, you do. That's just what you have to do. So people kept saying to me, can't you just write something that's really, really simple? And I haven't been able to. And then last year, a lady again said, well, if you can do that, I can help you market it. So I decided to ask Oscar, and we had already made a couple of products, as I said earlier, to help you understand yourself. More kind of sculptures and games, really. So I decided to ask Oscar. I said, right, help me write this book. This is going to be really short, really simple, and really easy. And you've got to get it straight away, and anyone can read it. So basically, we need to write something that can show you all about yourself in 40 pages. And we did it. It took us 2 months. I spent hours and hours writing, sending the notes to my son, who would then send it back with most of it crossed out. And then he would tell me things like, you cannot use any metaphors. You cannot use a word like consciousness. You can't do that. So it was really tricky, but together, him and I managed it. And in July, we finished it. And here it is. It is a book called Focus. And the subtitle is Discover. That circle represents discovery of yourself. Connect to that self that you discover. And then, because you understand what this is now, you can then achieve amazingness on your terms, so you thrive. And what happens is, untangle your confusion and find success. Success meaning within yourself. And also, on the outside, you will get your money. But most importantly, you will be able to be you in a good way, in a good place, around good people for you, because you'll know what you need. So we've written this book, and I'm going to go through it very briefly with you now. But before I do that, we've written this book, and this book is aimed at particular people. Because who do you think this information would be really, really valuable for? Well, obviously young people. The situation in the world today is chaos. It's going through a massive transition into the digital world. Lots of things that people of my generation took as normal and you know, the rules we were following and the way we were and parenting and all that sort of thing has all gone out the window. We're living in a different world. We're living in changing times. Yeah. So young people and parents and teachers and support workers can use this book so they can finally understand how to use their most powerful tool, which is the ability to focus. And once you understand how your focus works, guess what? You can control it. And once you can control your focus, you can start to create a world that suits you. So what? So your mental health gets better. Your mind calms down. You start to be able to use and identify your talents and your strengths. You start to understand what your learning style is and how important that is. You start to realize that there is meaning and purpose in this life for you, because you as an individual offer beautifulness to your environment. You are important. You are here to be you, and that's what gives you meaning and purpose. But to discover you and to hold on to that you, once you've found it in this world at the moment, amongst the digital storm of stuff, is very difficult. And this is what this book is about. On the back of this book, which, as I said, is primarily aimed at parents, young people, parents so they can teach their children from probably the age 10 upwards, young people, and they can read it themselves or with their parent and use it as a guide, teachers, because it teaches self-awareness to children, to people, to clients, to anyone who wants to know about themselves. This teaches you. In 40 pages, this book teaches you. I'll show you what it teaches you. Go through the contents. Introduction. The first principle. Everything you do counts. You are important. The bench. And are we like bees? They're all about the understanding of focus, okay? Then we go into emotion and feelings. What's the difference between emotion and feelings? Most people don't know that. Most people think they're the same thing. They're not. They're completely different. So let's learn about emotion and feelings. Then let's put together the idea of how to focus, what you focus on, the different elements that make up who you are. Let's put that together. And then the third principle is really important. It's about your awareness. And your awareness, once you know how to focus and once you start to use your awareness as your most, as your sort of essence of yourself, what you realize, your awareness gives life to things that you notice. So if I give my awareness, my attention to a computer, I'm giving it life. I'm making that alive. Because if I wasn't, it would be sitting there doing nothing. It would just be a black thing sitting there. But if I give it my awareness and if I start to engage with it, it will become alive. It becomes more real. It doesn't have to be a computer. If I give my awareness, if I give my attention to a pet, my pet dog, that dog will become much more alive and real around me. If I give my awareness, my attention to my studying at school, that will become alive and real. And if I don't give attention to any of those things, they're not alive and real. They still exist, by the way. They're still in my real world. But they're not alive and real. We talk about this in the book. Once you realise this, though, astonishing things happen. And then in the book, that's the knowledge. And then in the book, and we're only on page 33 by this time, and also in the book are some amazing pictures, which again I'm going to show you more another day. But there's an example of the pictures. They're comic, fun, etc. And they're used in the book. I'll show you the awareness one. I quite like the awareness one. Here you are. This is the awareness one. So be careful. What you become aware of and what you notice and what you put your energy into becomes alive and real to you. And that says to whatever, that's what you want, because that's what you're giving your awareness to. Now, if you don't want that, don't give it your awareness. Because by not doing something with something means it gets smaller. But we talk about that. So anyway, so I've made this book. Okay, we've written this book. This book is here. You can buy this book as an ebook now. But then I thought a bit more, and I thought, well, even though it's a very short book and even though it's very simple, it's still very, very, very deep. So what I've done, I've set up another academy. I've set up the Focus EDM Academy. And in that Focus EDM Academy, I'm going to do a special course for parents. I'm going to do a special course for people who want to teach leadership. I'm going to do a special course on for teachers. I'm going to do a special course for therapists. And on this course, I'm going to use this book and I'm going to show you how you can use this book at home, in your family, or at work, or in your profession. So the first course that's going to be there is for parents. So you go on that course. There'll be a lesson on each chapter. Each lesson will have not only have me explaining what that chapter means, but there'll be extra resources there. There'll be PDFs you can download as exercises for your children. There'll be a film you can watch. There's also going to be some more new videos that we're going to put together to illustrate some of the points. And most importantly of all, you can comment and I can answer and other people can comment. And together we can start to create in this lesson a real conversation about things that come up for you whilst you're teaching your children this as a parent. I've done all this before with the Energy Dynamic Model Academy, and I tell you what, it really works, because over time, the more people who go on this course, the more the course grows, because the more questions that are asked and the more information that goes on it. So this online course will cover all the chapters and it will be interactive. So if you want to buy the book, great, there's a link below. But if you want to buy the book and then have more support in teaching your children this idea, and as I said, you can take it to work as leadership, you can use it for yourself as a young person to look at for your career, etc. You can then go on to the online course specifically targeted at who you are, e.g. young person, parent, whatever, yeah? Depending on where you're coming from. It's not actually who you are, but depending on where you are in life, I'll do courses that are geared towards that kind of arena. So if you're a parent, you're obviously going to want to know different things compared to if you're a therapist, okay? So a parent would go on a parent online course, the therapist would go on a therapist course. But all the courses are about this book. There's no new content, it's all about this book. So it's an interactive extra tool to help you take this away, take this into your home, take this into your workplace and make it alive, real and relevant and life-changing. All right? So the information is in here. The support is on the online academy, and also within this book as well, can you believe this, there is an internal roadmap that you can use, again, with your child, with yourself, whoever, that you can physically use to map out what's happening internally inside yourself. So you can learn how to control and switch your focus like that when you need to, okay? So if you get focused on something and it's getting a bit loopy and you can't get out of it and everything is just going into that computer screen, or if everything's a drama and you're stuck in your mind and you're emotional, it will help you switch your focus. I'll tell you where, switch your focus and immediately gain control of yourself. Okay? That's in this book. It's called The Internal Roadmap. And the last thing in this book is the action plan, which then gives you a 4-week practical ideas about how to do this in real life, just some suggestions. Okay? So this is the Focus EDM Academy. This is the Focus book. This is the simple version in 40 pages that will teach you everything you need to know about yourself. It's an absolute must if you want to thrive in this digital age. Absolute must. And then, as I said, there's the online academy that's linked to it. If you then want to go into a deep dive, please feel free to join the Energy Dynamic Model Academy, where you can do a really deep dive into everything. And that's just amazing as far as I'm concerned. But it is a commitment and it is a journey. Whereas this focus book is a quick guide, simple guide, so anyone can understand themselves, okay? And your children and the young people can grow up knowing exactly who they are, what that means, what that looks like, why it's important, and what we need to do to calm our mind down, to make sure we're in situations that work for us, and how can we take that knowledge forward to create a better world for ourselves and then by definition for other people. So it's all in here. All right, so keep posted, please subscribe. I'm going to be doing my focus videos on this channel, so please subscribe, please share the word, and if you want to, buy an ebook. Okay, you can join the course without buying a book, that's no problem, but you can also buy an ebook as well. All right, so take care. Thank you for waiting for me to come back. I do appreciate it. Thank you for keeping subscribers is what I mean by that. And please share, and speak to you very soon. Thank you very much.